Another weekend, another round of wind, ice, and snow in parts of the U.S. And according to ICE's senior meteorologist, David Margolin, the final 10 days of January were the coldest since 1990. Well, just this morning, the groundhog saw his shadow, predicting 6 more weeks of winter. But what does ICE's senior meteorologist see? He's joining us in studio with more. Dave, it's great to have you.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Is this bad that the groundhog saw his shadow today?
Well, I hate to disagree with the groundhog, but actually we are seeing some signs of change. We actually expect a pattern change as we move into the middle of February. So we're hoping the groundhog's wrong on this.
Okay, so pattern change. I like to see that 2 weeks out or so. But let's talk about what was, right? January was absolutely frigid. We're now just in the second day of February. How do these numbers and data stack up?
Yeah, as you said earlier, this is one of the colder patterns we've seen probably in about 10 years. So some of the folks may remember the winter of 13-14 and even 14-15. That was probably the last time we really had like an extended period of significant cold like this. And it finished, as you mentioned, with the last 10 days of January, not only maybe the coldest since 1990, but really you have to go back to the 60s to see an extended period of cold across the United States.
What impact does cold weather like that have other than, for us at home needing to buy a bunch of blankets to stay warm?
Yeah, so certainly, I'm most familiar with the commodities or energy commodities, and we did see a significant impact there. So a lot of times when it's cold in like natural gas markets, we talk about the demand. And of course, the demand goes up. Everyone's cranking up the heat and things. But it also can, when it gets really cold, it can impact the supply. And that's what we saw. So where they were taking gas out of the ground, like across Texas and Oklahoma, it was so cold that what occurred were what we call freeze-offs, and it actually had significant impact. In other words, it was so cold it was causing ice where they normally draw the gas out, and so it actually decreased the amount we were able to pull out of the ground by as much as 60 or 70 BCF. So it was pretty significant.
What does it mean that this extreme weather, as you referenced there, really did sweep across almost the entire country, even as south as Florida?
Yeah, it's unusual to get this kind of expansive cold. Really, the only areas that kind of missed out were kind of west of the Rockies. Yeah. But you brought up Florida and even like the Carolinas. I mean, we had over the last week or two a significant snow and ice event across the South. There's still about 100,000 people without power across parts of Tennessee and Mississippi. Those areas don't deal with it well. And even this weekend, we saw a follow-up storm that impacted the Carolinas with almost a foot of snow, around an inch or so of snow into parts of Georgia, and even snow flurries as far south as Tampa Bay.
Wow. Okay, so what's in store these next 2 weeks as we prepare and look forward to what you call the change in weather patterns mid-February?
Yeah, this is where we're in a little bit of a fight with the groundhog. So it does look like we are still going to be in the cold, solidly below normal for the next 10 days or so. But then after that, it does look like not only does the model guidance show changes, but some of the fundamental drivers that we look at, something called the Madden-Julian oscillation, or MJO, it does look like it's shifting gears. It's moving into what normally supports a warmer regime. So it does look like several factors are coming together now in the middle of the month for a warmer pattern. Now, one last thing about that, though, it's still February. And even with a little bit warmer temperatures in February, it doesn't rule out the potential for winter weather. So, although it doesn't look like we're going to get the big snow event this week, I wouldn't rule out February is typically the snowiest month for a lot of places in the Northeast. And I don't think we can rule out still some wintry weather ahead over the next few weeks.
Okay, we'll be watching it closely. And a change in pattern, what can we expect? Temps in the 40s and 50s?
Yeah, it's not exactly, bathing suit weather yet, but probably for this area where we've been stuck in the 20s and 30s for max highs, and that's unusual. Yeah, I think we're going to be looking at opportunities from Chicago over to here with several days in the 40s, but probably even a few days poking into the 50s.
I need to know when that ice in the East River is going to melt.
Yeah, we still have a while for that. It is unusual to see this much ice. I've heard a lot of people talking about this. You're in an extended period of cold in New York City when you're starting to see ice in the rivers and chunks like icebergs. So realistically, that could take a while. We might be looking into March before we really start to see a lot of melting there.
Change my commute, I can tell you that much, David. I'm not
Yeah.
boarding that ferry anymore.
Yeah.
It's suspended indefinitely. So
Yeah.
we'll see when that ice can melt. That's Dave Margolin. He's senior meteorologist at Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE for short. Dave, thanks as always.
Thank you, Kristen.